What if the most important stories are born not in the roar of battle, but in the silence that follows? We will peek into the quietest corners of great legends. We'll listen to the crackle of firewood in a hobbit hole, the wind howling along the walls of Isengard, and the rustle of pages in an elven library. Write in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is for you. And now,
So this is the way
get
to the
comfortable.
Forbidden Temple.
Imagine the soft patter of rain outside your window, and let's dive into this world together. Have you ever just yearned for that deep, soul-hugging coziness? I'm not talking about just a warm blanket or a steaming cup of tea, though those are certainly part of it. I mean that profound feeling where the entire world outside just shrinks, becomes utterly insignificant, and every single worry just melts away beyond the threshold of your own private, perfect sanctuary. Picture this: a sturdy, round door, sealed tight against the world. On the other side, your own universe, where the clock seems to lose its hands, and every single sound blends into this incredible symphony of pure, unadulterated calm. Well, guess what? Such a place isn't just a fantasy. We're about to step right into it. So, let's sneak a peek, shall we? We're venturing into a truly snug burrow, tucked away deep under a rolling hill. The very walls here seem to breathe, carrying the earthy scent of the soil and, oh, that incredible aroma of fresh-baked bread. The air? It's not just warm. It literally wraps around you, almost like the softest, thickest wool scarf you could ever imagine. Look up, and those old wooden ceiling beams, just slightly darkened by years and stories, feel like this incredibly robust, dependable shield protecting you. Down below, the light stone floor remains cool, always, but never, ever cold. It's absolutely the perfect bolt hole, especially when the weather outside turns truly wild. And today, judging by the drumming we're hearing, the storm has decided to put on quite the show. Peering out through that iconic round window, you know the one, right? From all the best tales? The rain is absolutely drumming down. It started so subtly, remember? Just a soft whisper, gentle little taps barely kissing the glass, almost like it was asking permission to join the party. But then, that whisper deepened, morphed into this confident rhythmic tapping, then a full-on loud drum beat. And now, whole rivers of water are just cascading down the glass, turning the entire outside world into these abstract, blurry watercolor smudges. Everything out there has gone this muted gray, indistinct and formless. But in here, inside this burrow, it only feels brighter, only feels warmer. Right there, at the absolute core of this cozy space, the fireplace, a fire is just going at it, merrily crackling away. It's not just burning. No, it's practically chattering to itself, isn't it? Little sparks are zipping up the chimney, like tiny bright messengers whisking warmth and light far, far away. The flame just dances, you see it? Throwing these incredible, whimsical shadows all across the walls and ceiling. It drenches the whole room in this gentle, pulsating glow, ebbing and flowing, creating such a wonderfully alive, breathing atmosphere. And those logs, all stacked so perfectly, they're slowly, deliberately smoldering, releasing this delicate, almost ethereal scent of dry wood and just a whisper of smoke. Honestly, this particular aroma, it's absolutely fundamental to true coziness. It just calms you, draws you into a space where you think about what truly lasts. And who else but a hobbit, of course, would be nestled so perfectly in that deep, ridiculously soft armchair, all upholstered in luxurious, thick velvet. Truly, who else understands simple pleasures quite like they do? Or how to just utterly surrender to the present moment? His feet are tucked away under a lovely warm blanket, one his grandmother wove long ago, and it still carries this gentle scent of lavender and countless winter evenings. It's got that wonderful weight to it, so comforting, almost like a hug, offering this profound sense of complete safety. In his hands, a substantial, well-loved book. The binding is ancient, leather, darkened by years and countless readings. You can see the page corners, slightly dog-eared, the spine worn in places. Honestly, it just adds to its charm, speaking volumes about the countless captivating hours it's already offered its lucky reader. The rain outside is just cranking up now. It's no longer mere tapping. This is a proper deluge, the kind that feels like it could just sweep everything away. It's roaring on the roof, absolutely gushing through the gutters, and slamming into the ground in these powerful, rhythmic waves. Yet in here, in this burrow, that sound, it's not scary at all. In fact, it does the opposite. It just underscores the warmth, the sheer safety, forming this incredible sonic shield between our cozy haven and the wild outside. Every single drop that hits the glass, every splash of water on the earth, becomes part of this magnificent lullaby. So calming, so deeply relaxing. You can practically feel the rain purifying the air, washing away everything unnecessary, leaving behind only freshness, only pure stillness. The hobbit, unhurriedly, turns a page. That soft rustle, it's just another perfect note in this whole symphony of comfort. It's so light, almost silent, but intensely familiar and deeply satisfying. It speaks of a kind of focused concentration, of losing yourself completely in other worlds, other adventures, all without ever leaving your own perfect little nook. And the smell of that book, oh, that's a story all its own. The scent of aged paper, slightly yellowed, infused with ink, and the very essence of time itself. It's the aroma of countless stories, of secrets, of knowledge, all tucked away between those covers. He takes a slow, deep breath of it, just for a moment, eyes closed, before disappearing back into the words. The fire just keeps on dancing, doesn't it? Every now and then, a log will burn through, and you hear that soft, dull thud as a piece settles down, followed by a sudden burst of sparks. It's like the flame just sighs contentedly, then reignites with fresh energy. The warmth from that fire completely envelops you, truly seeping right through your clothes, warming every single cell in your body. It feels like the very air in this burrow has grown thicker, richer, warmer. It's absolutely infused with the scents of wood, that light, subtle smoke, and oh yes, that unmistakable aroma of fresh bread. It must have just come out of the oven in the kitchen, right? All these amazing aromas just mingle together, creating this utterly unique, incomparable scent of home, a scent you really can only find right here. Over on the windowsill, right there behind that round window, where the rain is putting on its biggest show, you'll spot these little pots of herbs. Mint, thyme, rosemary. Their green leaves are just vibrant, so fresh and bright, offering such a beautiful contrast to the muted gray world outside. And you know, that damp air from beyond, it gently seeps in through any tiny crack, bringing with it this subtle hint of earth and wet leaves. It then perfectly merges with all those indoor scents, creating this really intricate, yet somehow incredibly harmonious symphony of aromas. This isn't just a house, it's a living home, truly breathing right alongside its occupant. Our hobbit continues to read. His eyes just drift effortlessly across the lines. Sometimes his fingers gently brush the text, almost as if he's literally absorbing every single word. He's completely, utterly lost in that story. For him, right now, in this precise moment, there's no rain, no wind, no concept of time whatsoever. There's just him, the book, and the gentle whisper of distant worlds. And isn't that just the most perfect state of peace? When everything outside just loses its grip, and your inner world gains this incredible, boundless freedom. No wandering thoughts, no nagging daily worries. Every ounce of his attention is locked onto the narrative, the unfolding plot, the very destinies of the characters. Slowly, gradually, the rain outside begins to ease. Its frantic rhythm softens. Those drops hitting the glass aren't nearly as sharp anymore. Now, it's just this gentle, consistent tapping, slowly becoming this soft, almost ethereal drizzle. The sound just melts into the background, fading back, making more room for the gentle whisper of the fire and the comforting rustle of those pages. It's almost like nature itself is tuning into the rhythm of this cozy evening, slowly calming right down along with our hobbit. Time, in here, just operates on a whole different wavelength. It's not measured by any clock face, but by pure feeling. You sense this gradual, accumulating peace, this slow, deep dive into quiet and pure tranquility. The light in the room softens even further. Shadows stretch long and comforting, never threatening. They just make the whole space feel even more intimate, even cozier. Every little rustle, every spark's crackle, every single sound isn't some interruption, is it? No. They're all just perfect notes in this incredible orchestra, playing the most beautiful melody of simple domestic bliss. This is, truly, the precise kind of music your soul needs to utterly relax. Our hobbit lifts his gaze from the book. Not entirely, just for a fleeting second, just to take a breath, to truly drink in this precise moment. His eyes catch the firelight, sparkling, reflecting those dancing flames. He glances towards the window, where now delicate raindrops are just slowly tracing thin, elegant trails down the glass. The world out there is still a beautiful blur, yes, but through that misty veil, you can just start to make out the gentle outlines of trees and bushes. And the air in this room, it's simply overflowing with warmth, that wonderful wood smoke, all mixed perfectly with the fresh, clean scent of those herbs from the windowsill. This whole scene, isn't it just the absolute embodiment of everything we crave on those cold, rainy days? That precious ability to just completely tuck yourself away, to genuinely escape the endless hustle and bustle, to discover your very own island of pure calm. This isn't just rest, you know. It's a full-on system reset. It's that invaluable moment when your body and soul can genuinely relax, letting go of every last bit of stress, those pressing tasks, all the external pressures. In a place like this, you can just be yourself, savor the simplest of things, and truly cherish every single passing moment. That soft, inviting light from the fireplace just keeps on bathing the room, painting everything with this warm, golden glow that's just so pleasing to your eyes. The shadows are putting on their own little dance, mirroring every flick and sway of the fire, adding this wonderful sense of life to what could otherwise be a very still scene. And the rain outside? Now it's almost gone. Just this whisper, a light, monotonous rustle, perfectly blending into the background for reading. It doesn't pull your attention away. No, it just gently reinforces this feeling of soft, comfortable isolation. It's in these quiet moments, isn't it, that you truly grasp the profound value of every single corner of your home, every object that encircles you. That beloved old armchair, your go-to blanket, a treasured, time-tested book. These aren't just things, you realize. They're anchors, grounding you in this state of pure peace, providing this deep sense of stability, of absolute security. They are your steadfast companions on this journey through the pages of a book. And on this journey, you are never, ever alone. You're completely enveloped by warmth, by comforting sounds, and by aromas that craft an atmosphere utterly beyond compare. Honestly, we could just stay here for hours, couldn't we? Just watching this absolutely perfect evening unfold, watching our hobbit completely lost in his book, the flames dancing hypnotically in the fireplace, those quiet raindrops still softly tracing paths down the glass. It's a scene that just never, ever gets old. It fills your soul with this incredible tranquility, this deep, comforting feeling that everything, truly everything, is exactly as it should be. The atmosphere just deepens into this profound peace. Outside, the world is slowly, gently giving way to darkness. Twilight just settles in, dissolving the last lingering colors of the day. Now, this room is almost entirely lit by the flickering, warm glow of the fireplace. And that, my friends, just layers on even more intimacy, even more undeniable coziness. It's in moments like these that you just desperately wish time would simply, utterly stop. You want this evening to stretch out forever, to just let yourself completely dissolve into it. No rush, no hurriedness, no worries whatsoever. Just simply being here, right now, soaking in every breath, every sound, every single turn of a page. This, truly, is the most precious gift we can give ourselves, when we finally allow ourselves to just slow down. Our hobbit, it seems, has reached the absolute peak of his story. His gaze is just utterly fixed on the book, and you can see this faint, contented smile just playing on his face. He's truly breathing in this perfect moment, this very instant where the rain outside is softly lulling the world to sleep. The fire is warming him from his very core, and those pages are whisking him away to entirely different realms. This, right here, right now, this is that perfect quiet hour in the Burrow, reading by the fireplace to the gentle soundtrack of the rain, the very thing we've all been searching for. Pure, unadulterated bliss. His breathing deepens, becomes even, his thoughts utterly calm. Everything is just perfect. Outside, it's completely dark now, isn't it? Only these rare, fleeting reflections from the fireplace manage to pierce the glass, dancing like tiny spirits on the wet leaves beyond. The rain? It's pretty much died down entirely, leaving behind only that crisp, clean air and the quiet promise of a truly peaceful night. And in this beautiful silence, broken only by the soft whisper of the fire and the gentle rustle of those pages, our hobbit continues his incredible journey, utterly immersed in a world crafted by words. And honestly, this is just the most exquisite, perfect ending to a truly perfect day. This, my friends, is the very essence, the true quintessence of coziness. So, remember to give yourself this incredible luxury sometimes. Find your own personal cozy corner, grab your favorite book, embrace your warmth, and just let the entire world around you slow right down while you savor every single bit of that moment. Believe me, it's absolutely priceless. If watching this gave you even a little sliver of peace, please do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, share it with a friend who you know could use a little coziness right now, and definitely subscribe to our channel for more moments of pure tranquility. We'd love to have you join us. Imagine this: Isengard, a citadel where steel itself sings hymns of destruction, where the very air seems composed of acrid fumes and echoes of endless din. Yet even here, at its very peak, within its most impregnable bastions, there are moments of astonishing, almost improbable silence. Have you ever wondered what it's like to stand guard over one of Middle-earth's most sinister strongholds when the world around you quiets, and the sounds of day give way to a different chorus? Not battle cries, not the deafening roar of siege engines, nor the shriek of saws and hammers, but only the boundless, impenetrable night and the ceaseless whisper of wind sweeping across black stones. This particular piece, strange and utterly out of place, descends after sunset upon the high, jagged walls of ancient Orthanc. It envelops you, seeping into every chink in your armor, every fold of your clothing, making every cell of your body feel its insignificance and minuteness before the ancient power encased within the stone and the all-consuming silence surrounding it. This isn't the kind of quiet that soothes the soul and brings longed-for tranquility, banishing worries. No, this is a silence fraught with tense anticipation, heavy and oppressive, like the very flagstones of Isengard you slowly traverse. It's felt not just on the skin, but deep within, seeping into your bones, making you instinctively pull your heavy, tanned leather cloak tighter, even if the piercing cold hasn't yet reached the core of your being. High above the ground, where only cold stars and sometimes a pale, indifferent crescent moon pierce the eternal gloom, the air becomes especially thin and sharp. It carries faint yet distinct scents, lost during the day's deafening din and unbearable stench. The smell of damp, frozen stone, redolent with ancient age, echoes of distant, smoldering fires, a subtle but clear tang of hot metal and acrid ozone rising from the bottomless, dark mines below, bringing with it the premonition of endless, hellish labor and countless future sacrifices. Sometimes, if the wind is particularly favorable, one might catch the faint, bitter scent of burning sulfur, used in processes hidden from most eyes, even here, in the depths where Saruman's most abominable experiments take place. The orc standing guard isn't a warrior of legend, nor a hero, nor a monster from children's nightmares used to frighten little ones. He's just an orc, one of thousands who populate these impregnable walls, performing their duties, whatever they may be, day after day, night after night, following the path destined for them since birth, since their very first breath. His name is irrelevant. His thoughts are simple. His task is to stand and watch, to wait and listen, to be alert but unnoticed. His heavy, iron-shod boots beat a monotonous, dull rhythm on the chipped, perpetually damp stone as he slowly, almost mechanically, paces along the parapet, following a single route. Step, turn, a long, strained gaze into the silent, impenetrable, all-consuming darkness. Then another step. This rhythm becomes part of the night, another of its sounds, barely discernible to an outside ear, but dominant in the sentry's own consciousness, merging with his heartbeat and steady breathing. It's the rhythm of survival, the rhythm of an endless cycle in which he is merely a small but absolutely essential cog in a vast, relentless machine. The first and most constant companion of this night watch is the biting wind. It rages wildly across ledges and towers, whistling through countless crevices, too many to count on Orthanca's ancient walls, rebuilt and added upon 1,000 times. This is no gentle breeze, but rather a malevolent spirit eager to break free. It howls, groans, and cries, shifting from a low, guttural rumble that chills to the bone and makes you tremble, to a high, piercing whistle that rings in your ears. The wind finds every tiny gap in Isengard's iron cladding, every crack in the stone, every loose plate, and transforms them into its sophisticated musical instruments, emitting a cacophony of creaks, moans, and wails that fill the air. With each new gust, it seems to try to strip the flesh from you, to chill your blood to the last drop, to remind you of your nothingness and insignificance before this colossal structure and the all-encompassing, boundless chaos surrounding it. Every gust of wind is a cold touch on your face, a reminder of the night's mercilessness. It whips the edges of your cloak with fierce strength, creeps under your armor, penetrates every fold of your clothing, drawing tears from eyes already burning from the strain of constant, agonizing staring into the darkness. You feel it pressing against the shield strapped to your back, trying to rip your helmet from your head. But you stand, stubbornly gripping the haft of your axe, which is now just a cold support for your hands, helping you keep balance, not a formidable weapon ready for battle. This wind never fully dies down. It merely changes its tone, becoming at times a barely audible whisper, at others a furious roar that drowns out all other sounds and even thoughts. Beneath this ceaseless chorus of wind, from deep within the fortress's belly, from its most hidden, hottest depths, come muffled but distinct sounds, like invisible blows, the sounds of the forges. This is the pulse of Isengard, its tireless, feverish heartbeat, which never stops for a minute, day or night, continuing in an eternal cycle of creation and destruction. During the day, it's deafening, a single, indiscernible roar, merging with the clang of machines, the whine of winches, and the shouts of overseers. But at night, when most work ceases or moves into the deepest unseen mines, individual hammer blows become clearly audible, reaching you as if from another world. They resemble a distant, muffled clang, rising from the earth's core, piercing through layers of stone, iron, and centuries of accumulated slag. Ding-dong, ding-dong. Now, a slow, heavy, low thud that vibrates the ground beneath your feet and shakes the air, as if the mountain itself echoes the smiths, followed by a series of quick, light, almost gentle taps, as if someone invisible and tireless is forging the world's destiny, patiently and ceaselessly, shaping the instruments of war that will soon be unleashed upon the free peoples. These sounds are comforting in their own way, for they mean that the work continues, that the mechanisms of evil do not pause for an instant, that there is a purpose, though not always clear, though alien, but one that gives meaning to the existence of all who are here in this hell. They remind him of warmth, of the bright, blinding light of molten metal, of the acrid, burning smell of smoke and sweat so familiar to a daytime orc who spends hours in the stuffy, hot workshops where the air feels scorching. But here, at this height, they are merely an echo, a pale shadow of the underground world, unable to banish the pervasive cold or quell the lingering, oppressive unease that slowly but surely spreads through the veins like poison. They are a constant reminder that even in this silence, Isengard is not asleep. It merely slumbers, gathering strength, accumulating power before the decisive blow. Every step, every breath of the sentry is accompanied by the creak of his own worn, long since lost its original form, leather armor. This is his personal orchestra, his constant, inseparable accompaniment, which never ceases for a moment while he's awake. The belt, cinched at his waist and weighed down by the weapons and pouches hanging from it, emits a dull groan with every movement, as if complaining about its hard lot. The shoulder pads, covered in nicks and scratches from countless trainings and rare but brutal skirmishes, rub against each other, producing a dry, rustling sound, like the whisper of dry leaves driven by wind across bare, frozen ground. His boots, once new and stiff, now soft and pliable from age and constant dampness, squelch on the wet stone, and the leather on the shins cracks with each step on the uneven parapet surface, threatening to tear. Even his gloves, stretching over his rough, calloused, disfigured fingers, produce a faint rustle when he grips his axe haft or rubs his stiff neck, trying to ease his tense, aching, numb muscles. These are sounds he's grown accustomed to since childhood, since the moment armor was first placed upon him. They merge with his own breathing, forming a single, almost inaudible melody for him. They speak of his presence here, of his physical body, of his readiness for action, even if the only action now is simply standing still and moving slowly, monotonously, like a ghost, along the cold, lifeless walls. And above all this, surrounding it all, is the boundless, silent darkness of the surrounding plains, absorbing all light and sound. This is the most terrifying, most pervasive silence, without beginning or end, stretching beyond sight. It extends to the very horizon, dissolving hills, forests, rivers into a single, black, impenetrable nothingness. Not a single light, not a single sound, not the slightest hint of life, of anything alive and warm. Only a cold, indifferent expanse that swallows every sound, every hope, every color and form, transforming everything into uniform blackness. It is here, in this absolute primordial void, that a true, primal, animal anxiety is born, one impossible to fight. What lurks there, behind that invisible, black curtain of night? The distant howl of a lone wolf, wandered too far from its forest refuges, now doomed? The whisper of alien, inhuman steps across dry grass, approaching the walls, or the movement of something even more terrifying, or something far more ancient and malicious, belonging to no side of the conflict, but capable of consuming both the guard, the fortress itself, and this entire world, leaving nothing? The orc strains his eyes into this endless blackness, trying to discern anything, the slightest movement, even a vague silhouette of a tree or hill, but in vain. The darkness swallows everything without trace, making visible only the immediate area, outlined by the dim, flickering light of torches that only emphasize its unfathomable depth. Time moves slowly, sluggishly, like thick pitch dripping down Isengard's stone walls. Every minute feels like an hour, every hour an eternity, stretched to the breaking point, to agonizing infinity. The orc gazes into this darkness, trying to discern anything, the slightest movement, but his eyes, accustomed to the gloom, strain to their limit, all in vain. The darkness swallows everything without a trace, leaving no chance. The only gleams of light come from the fortress itself, from its inner depths. Dull, orange glows from the forges, flickering, ominous lights from signal towers, and the shimmering, dancing torches placed along the walls at regular, precisely measured intervals, which only emphasize the profound depth of the surrounding blackness, making it even more impenetrable and terrifying. In such moments, when the outside world seems to cease to exist, when all external stimuli, all sounds and smells disappear. The sentry's consciousness retreats into itself, into its own narrow, limited world. It doesn't wander into philosophical questions. No, an orc's thoughts are simple, like his life, like the coarse food he eats, like the heavy, monotonous work he performs day after day, of the food that will come after his shift, and whether it will be at least a little warm, or if it has grown completely cold, of the sleep that will follow his meal, and whether he'll be woken too early before he's had a chance to rest even a little, of the warmth of the fire in the common barracks, where he can relax and think of nothing, shedding the burden of solitude. Sometimes, of the overseer's face, who shouted louder than usual today, and whether another lash will come tomorrow for some transgression. Sometimes, of the pain in an old, long-healed, but still aching wound on his leg, which begins to throb from the cold and dampness seeping under his boots. These aren't deep reflections, but rather background noise, sounds within his skull, as integral as the sounds outside, but far more personal, more palpable. It is a simple, unpretentious existence, devoid of any heroism or grand ambitions, filled only with routine and the desire for elementary comfort. The silence of the plains only emphasizes the fortress's deep, guttural hum. It lives its own, unknown life, vast, unfathomable, pulsating. The clang of mechanisms, the creak of winches, dull thuds from below, where thousands of hands toil tirelessly. All these form the background noise to which the orc has been accustomed since childhood, since his first days of life within these grim, smoking depths. At night, these sounds become more distinct, more individual. They are easier to discern if you listen closely. You can hear shifts changing on the lower levels, their heavy steps echoing through corridors, reverberating off damp walls. You can hear the faint creak of wooden beams supporting the enormous, massive gates, which haven't been opened in what seems like an eternity, and are now covered in ages of dust. Occasionally, a dull, abrupt thud is heard when something heavy, perhaps another boulder or piece of ore, falls into the depths of the mines, plunging into the abyss where darkness consumes it. Each such sound is confirmation that Isengard is awake, that it is not just a collection of stone and metal, but a living, breathing organism, slowly but surely preparing for its hour. For the moment, it will unleash its dark legions upon the world. Sometimes, very rarely, the sentry manages to catch a distant, barely audible, almost phantom sound that doesn't belong to Isengard, a sound that is part of an entirely different, alien world, a world not yet touched by evil. Perhaps it's the faraway cry of a nightbird flying high over the plains, or the barely perceptible rustle of leaves in a forgotten forest that miraculously survived somewhere far off, untouched by logging. Or even, very rarely, the muffled, mournful moan of a distant beast, lost in the boundless steppe and now seeking its way home. These sounds, so alien and fragile against the steel roar and stony silence, are fleeting, like ghosts, like dreams. They pierce through the thickness of the night for only an instant, then immediately dissolve, leaving behind only the sensation of something different, something that shouldn't be here, in this world ruled absolutely by Saruman, but which still exists, breathes, and occasionally sends its faint echoes to these high, frozen, grim walls. These sounds are a brief, barely discernible reminder that Isengard is not the entire world, that beyond its confines there is another life, perhaps doomed, but still living. Gradually, very gradually, the darkness begins to recede. No, it's not the dawn, not the bright sun, banishing all shadows and bringing warmth. It's merely the herald of dawn, a barely perceptible ghostly change in the shade of black. The horizon, previously merging completely with the sky, begins to take on a faint, bluish, almost imperceptible haze, hinting at the approach of a new day. The stars, bright and cold all night, begin to dim, as if someone unseen is extinguishing their lights one by one, preparing the stage for a new, arduous day. The wind might briefly quiet, as if tired of its endless struggle with the walls, or, conversely, it might intensify, heralding the morning, gathering strength for new howls and whistles. The air becomes even sharper, even colder. The pre-dawn chill penetrates even the thickest armor, seeping into the bones, making muscles cramp and teeth chatter from the cold. But this cold is a welcome sign, a sign that the duty is ending, a sign of imminent rest. At this time, when the change of watch is about to happen, the orc feels a peculiar, deep weariness, but also a slight, long-awaited relief, which spreads through his body like a warm drink, warming him from within. He has fulfilled his duty. He has stood his shift. The night, which seemed endless and unfathomable, almost eternal, is drawing to a close. Thoughts of food and sleep become ever clearer, almost tangible, transforming into the most pressing and desirable reality he yearns for. He knows he will soon hear the steps of the next century, heavy, monotonous steps that will mark the end of his own solitude and the beginning of another's. And when those steps finally sound, heavy, distinct, approaching from the darkness, he will exchange a couple of indiscernible, guttural grunts with the incoming guard. Check that he understands his task and is ready for it, and, without looking back or uttering another word, head down into the warmer, noisy, though no less grim depths of Isengard, leaving the quiet, heavy watch and the boundless night darkness to the new century. Another, equally silent and weary, will replace him, and the cycle will continue, without end and without beginning. If you found yourself immersed in this dark vigil, please give this video a like, share it, and subscribe for more tales from the shadows of Middle-earth. Ever thought about what it's truly like to guard secrets so old, time doesn't even make sense anymore? I'm talking about a place where centuries aren't just numbers on a clock, but cycles of stars and falling leaves. What if you could actually hold a scroll, knowing those words were penned thousands of years ago? Imagine feeling the very breath of history with every touch, sensing that cool, smooth, almost rough ancient parchment in your hands. Picture a world where the past isn't just some dusty memory, but a living, breathing essence dwelling in every corner, every faded page. Well, buckle up, because today we're going to dive headfirst into a world where all of that isn't just possible, it's the very fabric of existence. We're heading to Rivendell, to Lord Elrond's sanctuary, for a quiet evening in his absolutely legendary library, a place truly unlike any other in all of Middle-earth. So, close your eyes for a second. Really picture it. The sun's long gone now, vanished behind those misty peaks of the Misty Mountains, painting the sky in these incredible, fading shades of violet and deep blue. The whole valley, Imladris, or Rivendell, as most folks know it, is just bathed in this soft, almost see-through twilight. You can practically feel the cool mountain air, smell those night-blooming plants. And the Bruinen River, you know, those silver cascades tumbling down, they sound so muted now, that constant, sometimes thundering roar. It's transformed into this gentle, lulling background, barely a whisper inside the elven dwellings. It's like nature's own quiet lullaby, just for you. In this haven of peace, absolute tranquility, and ancient magic, surrounded by towering, evergreen trees, and that classic, elegant elvish architecture, sits the very core of their wisdom, Lord Elrond's library. Now, this isn't just some dusty old collection of books, all right? This place, it's like the living breath of eternity itself, just pulsing in time with the whole world. The room where all these treasures are kept, it feels boundless, but never, ever overwhelming. Look up. High ceilings, covered in these unbelievably intricate carvings in dark, aged wood, supporting elegant arches, and each one, I swear, tells its own ancient story. And those massive bookshelves, crafted from the most noble woods, maybe cedar or oak, grown right there in elvish gardens. They just soar upwards, disappearing into the dimness, almost like they're reaching for the stars themselves. On them, you've got endless rows of scrolls, big old folios, these beautiful inlaid caskets, incredibly detailed maps, and atlases. Honestly, each one is a universe. Stories, ancient prophecies, the family trees of kings and heroes, languages you wouldn't even recognize, powerful spells, forgotten songs. Seriously, every single book here is a window right into the past. Every map, a quick look at the world as it was, as it's become, and, maybe, as it'll never, ever be again. An evening in this library, it takes on a truly special, almost mystical charm. Through those tall, arched windows that open onto the serene garden, you get just the spectral light of the moon, casting these long, dancing shadows from columns crowned with elven faces and statues of ancient elvish sages. But the main, most comforting light here isn't some electric lamp. No way. It's hundreds of flickering candles. They're arranged everywhere with such elegant deliberation, on tables of polished cedar, shining like a mirror, on carved stands all along those endless shelves, tucked into deep wall niches, creating this soft, golden glow that just dances on the spines of ancient volumes. It makes the dull gilding on their covers shimmer and really brings out the intricate patterns on the leather bindings. This light isn't harsh at all. It just envelops you, inviting you to simply contemplate. And the air in this library? Oh, it's filled with such a special, incomparable aroma. It's that deep, complex fragrance of old parchment. You know, its earthy sweetness mixing with the dry, woody note of aged wood from the shelves and furniture. To that, you get these subtle but persistent hints of something exotic, maybe herbs, dried between pages centuries ago, still holding on to their barely discernible essence, or ancient elvish inks, their composition lost to other peoples ages ago, emanating a slight, metallic tang. Sometimes, if the wind carries it just right from the garden, you might even catch the faint scent of blooming jasmine, adding a touch of freshness to this ageless bouquet. It's truly incredible. And right at the heart of this sanctuary of knowledge, this absolute treasury of history, sits its guardian, Lord Elrond Half-Elven. Tonight, he's not here as some grand strategist, or a healer, or even the master of a famous refuge. No, tonight, he's truly in his element, the keeper of wisdom, the scholar, the chronicler. He's seated at this massive, yet surprisingly elegant table, made of dark, almost black wood, maybe oak that's thousands of years old, having survived countless eras. His long, dark hair, like a silky cascade, spills over his shoulders, and the gaze of his deep, ancient eyes is fixed on a scroll, unrolled right in front of him. In those eyes, you can read not only the weariness of ages, but this infinite depth of understanding, a wisdom that has truly passed through 3 entire ages. This isn't just any scroll, by the way. It's, by all accounts, one of the great maps. A map of Middle-earth, yes, but not the one we're familiar with from short journeys and bits of info. No, this is far more ancient, so detailed, marking not only known cities and rivers, but also elven settlements, long vanished, forgotten ruins, secret paths, forged back in the days of the First Age, and even maybe the ways once walked by the Valar themselves. It actually glows with this inner light that Elrond seems to be able to intensify at will. This is ancient elvish magic that doesn't burn, but gently illuminates, revealing all those hidden details. His slender, long fingers just glide over the frail, yellowed edges of the parchment, over the barely discernible, almost faded lines marking rivers that disappeared ages ago, mysterious lakes, and ancient mountain ranges, over the names of cities that have become silent ruins over many millennia. He doesn't just look at this map, he reads it, immersing himself in the geography of the past, in the deep memory of worlds that existed before his own birth, of those fading right before his eyes, and of those that, perhaps, will never again appear in reality. In this profound silence of the library, you can only hear one thing, a faint rustle. It's not the wind outside, not leaves. It's the rustle of ancient scrolls and folio pages as Elrond carefully turns them or unrolls them one by one, seeking something only he can grasp, something only he is given to interpret from ancient prophecies or forgotten chronicles. This sound, almost voiceless, barely perceptible, it fills the space with its unique, rhythmic melody, almost as if history itself is whispering its secrets directly to him. It's not a hurried, careless gesture. Oh no. It's a gentle touch, full of reverence for the knowledge preserved in these fragile sheets, each one of which could crumble to dust from a single wrong movement. Aside from this incredibly intimate rustle, the only other sound you'll catch is that distant roar of Bruinen's waterfalls I mentioned, a constant reminder of the living, breathing world just beyond these walls. Occasionally, if you really listen closely, you might hear the faint, almost inaudible crackle of wax as candle flames consume it, and the barely audible creak of his dark wood chair beneath the Lord as he slightly shifts his posture. Each of these sounds, honestly, they don't break the silence. Instead, they accentuate it, making it feel even deeper, richer, and more palpable. Silence here isn't the absence of sound, you see, but the fullness of presence, a sense of boundless tranquility that just permeates every corner of the library, enveloping both Elrond himself and all the ancient treasures around him. Elrond slowly raises his gaze from the map. His eyes, reflecting those flickering candles, look somewhere far off into the depths of the hall, as if he sees not only the endless rows of dusty shelves, but the very fabric of time itself, woven from destinies, from great battles, triumphs, and tragedies all recorded in these books. He truly is a living bridge between ages, and this library, it's his sanctuary, his burden, and his joy. Here, he can finally just be himself, not a general, not a healer, not a diplomat, not a politician, but a true keeper of wisdom and a connoisseur of ancient truths. He lowers his gaze to the scroll again, his fingers slowly, almost hypnotically, turning the pages, sensing their ancient texture. Perhaps these are chronicles of the First Age, recounting great deeds and unimaginable tragedies, the fall of mighty elvish cities like Gondolin or Nargothrond, the feats of heroes whose names few remember even among elves today, like Beren and Luthien or Turin Turambar. Or maybe it's a collection of ancient prophecies, warnings given even before the coming of the stars, whose meaning Elrond still attempts to unravel, constantly comparing them with what's happening in the world right now. Allow yourself to imagine how thin threads of magic, unique to elves, just flow from his hands, barely noticeably illuminating the text, making it clearer, even if the parchment has darkened with time and almost decayed. This isn't some bright, blinding glow. No, it's a soft, intimate luminescence that seems part of the very air of the library, as if the air itself is permeated with ancient enchantments. It emphasizes the depth of the symbols, their archaic origin, unlocking hidden meanings totally inaccessible to mortal minds. In moments like these, watching Elrond, it becomes so clear that elvish wisdom is something far more than just accumulated knowledge, more than mere facts and dates. It is a deep, intuitive understanding of the world's rhythms, its hidden laws, its very soul, and its destiny. It's something passed down from generation to generation, deepening and enriching with each passing century, like an ancient, mighty tree whose roots just delve ever deeper into the soil. And Lord Elrond, he is one of those who bears this wisdom, not just storing it in scrolls, but living it, breathing it, embodying it in his every movement and gaze. He slowly exhales, that barely audible sound dissolving into the silence, not breaking it, but rather becoming an integral part of it. Then he carefully rolls up the scroll, tying it with a thin, silky ribbon, woven, perhaps, from threads of moonlight. Every gesture is precise. Every movement is just imbued with meaning and a deep respect for what he holds in his hands. He does not rush, because in Rivendell, time really holds no sway over those who live in harmony with it. Here, every moment is eternity, and every eternity is just a single moment. Lord Elrond rises, his silhouette swaying ever so slightly in the flickering candlelight, casting a long shadow on the polished wooden floor. He approaches one of the countless shelves, raising his hand, searching for the right, predetermined place for the scroll. His fingers easily find the empty space, as if the library itself guides him, or as if he knows every single hidden nook by heart, which is most likely the case. He places the scroll back, and a faint, barely audible creak of wood confirms that the knowledge has found its rightful, safe place until it's needed again. He runs his hand over the spines of the books, over their ancient covers, sometimes touching faded letters, almost as if greeting old friends with whom he has shared thousands of conversations simply by turning their pages. One can only imagine how much he has read in his long life, how many worlds he has visited without ever leaving these walls, how many fates he has experienced just by immersing himself in the histories imprinted on parchment. These aren't merely books. They are the pulsating memory of a people, their unwavering heart and immortal soul, their cherished hopes and unspeakable sorrows, their dazzling glory and bitter falls, every single word of which echoes through the ages. Occasionally, he might cough slightly, a surprisingly soft, almost voiceless sound, as if afraid to disturb the sacred silence of this place. Like a barely perceptible breath, he inhales this special library air, filled with aromas that are as much a part of his home as the birdsong in the garden or the murmur of the river. These aromas are his memory, his history, His gaze, full of ancient wisdom, lingers on a small, intricately gem-inlaid casket resting on one of the lower shelves. He doesn't open it, but his eyes stay on it a moment longer than on other objects, and a faint thoughtfulness appears in them. Perhaps inside lies something particularly important, something connected to his own destiny, or the destiny of all Middle-earth, something that cannot simply be read. A part of knowledge not recorded on parchment, but preserved as an artifact, requiring a special kind of understanding, a unique connection. Evening slowly, almost imperceptibly, transitions into deep night. The moon rises higher, its light growing brighter, penetrating deeper into the hall, but still remaining spectral, silvery, unable to contend with the warm, enveloping glow of the candles. Somewhere far beyond the library walls, perhaps the gentle singing of night birds, maybe a nightingale, can be heard, or the barely perceptible whisper of wind in the crowns of tall elvish trees. But here, within, only an unbreakable, ancient silence prevails, interrupted only by the most delicate, almost invisible sounds, which merely enhance the feeling of tranquility. Elrond walks around the hall, his steps utterly silent, as if he himself is a part of this ancient place, casting no shadow, making no sound, a phantom of wisdom gliding between ages. He checks if everything is in order, if all books are in their places, if there is nothing that could disturb their peace, their age-old slumber. This is his daily ritual, a part of his service not only to his people, but to the whole world. Every single object in this library has its own history, its own incomparable value. Not only the content of the books, but the very materials from which they are created. Parchment, made from the hides of fantastical creatures. Inks, derived from rare plants, growing only in untouched corners of Middle-earth. Covers adorned with elvish gold and silver. All of this speaks of high craftsmanship, infinite patience, and a deep, almost reverent respect for the knowledge these books preserve. These are not merely things. They are true artifacts of their time. He stops at a large window, facing east, from which the stars shine with unusual brilliance in the clear elvish sky, like diamonds scattered across velvet. He looks up, his eyes seeking familiar constellations, Valachirka, Menelvagor, and of course, Arendil, which always reminds him of the great journey, the light of the Silmarils, his own father, and the hope that still flickers in the world. He looks at them not as some academic astronomer, but as a poet, seeing in each flicker a star of his destiny. In this moment, standing by the window, surrounded by millennia of accumulated wisdom, Elrond is the embodiment of the elvish soul, its resilience, its nobility, its unending sorrow. He lives in an eternal present, permeated by the past and gazing into the future. He isn't alone here. He is surrounded by the voices of those who lived before him and the whispers of those who will come after, the voices of departed sages, poets, and kings. The library isn't merely a repository. It is an unceasing conversation across centuries, a truly living dialogue with history. A quiet evening in Elrond's library isn't a tale of adventures or battles, nor of heroic feats or dramatic turns of fate. No, it's a story of contemplation, of the sheer value of knowledge, of the profound peace that can be found in solitude with wisdom, of how important it is to just listen to silence. It's a reminder that the greatest discoveries often happen not in the noise and bustle of the world, not in loud shouts, but in stillness, where you can truly hear the whisper of your own mind and the voices of the past that guide us forward. Just think about how many profound secrets these pages hold, how many answers to great questions that we, simple folk, dare not even ask, unable to grasp their true depth and comprehensive meaning. How much hope and how much sorrow, how much joy and how much loss is contained in these dusty yet infinitely precious volumes that have survived so many generations. And all of it is kept right here, deep within Rivendell, under the careful guardianship of one who sees not only letters and words, but the very essence of things, their true meaning, and their influence on the course of history. It truly is a treasury of creation. Perhaps this evening is drawing to a close for us, the outside observers. But for Elrond, it's just one of many thousands, merely another segment in his endless journey of service to knowledge. He might still spend hours, or even the entire night, in deep contemplation, tracing ancient lines on maps, deciphering the meaning of long-forgotten runes, or simply meditating on some ancient poem, understanding its new facets. His path is one of eternal discovery, a path of preserving light in a fading world. And so, we leave Lord Elrond, immersed in deep yet serene work. We leave him in silence, amidst the soft, pulsating light of candles and the whisper of ancient stories, with the roar of waterfalls drifting from afar, like an eternal lullaby for the world he so carefully guards. This image remains with us, a picture of absolute peace, infinite wisdom, and unyielding dedication. So, I really hope this little journey, this dive into Rivendell, into the absolute heart of elvish wisdom, was as captivating for you as it was for me. Just letting you forget the everyday rush for a moment, right? To maybe touch something eternal. If you're into stories that let you slow down, think a little, find beauty in silence, and real depth in the small details, then please, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any more of our trips through worlds of imagination. Give this video a quick like if you enjoyed it, just to show your support. And seriously, tell me in the comments, what fantasy place would you love to visit for this kind of quiet contemplation, and why? Your thoughts mean a lot to us. All right, until next time, keep exploring those worlds of imagination and ancient legends. Did you know that in ancient times, stables around the world, from the simplest, most utilitarian stalls to the majestic royal courts, often considered sacred places, almost temples, where the unseen spirit of unity between man and nature was present, and the very walls held centuries of wisdom? These were not just ordinary, functional buildings for keeping animals. No, they were perceived as special, almost sacred spaces where one of humanity's most astonishing, ancient, and profound bonds was born, strengthened, and carefully, reverently maintained. That invisible, yet tangible, and unwavering connection between a rider and their loyal horse. A bond that has stood the test of millennia and remains relevant even today. Today, we journey to precisely such an extraordinary, truly mystical place, shrouded in ancient legends and tales, imbued with the subtle yet enduring scent of fresh hay, warm, aged wood, and horse sweat, to the famous, truly magnificent stables of Edoras, the very heart of Rohan. We will become not just observers, but participants in not merely a routine procedure, but a quiet, profound, almost meditative and sacred evening ritual, passed down through generations like a precious relic or invaluable knowledge, preserving its pristine purity, deep significance, and undying beauty. Let me help you fully immerse yourself in this unique atmosphere to truly visualize this captivating and serene scene. The golden sun, weary from the day, already slowly descends towards the horizon, like a tired traveler, painting Rohan's endless emerald fields in incredible, ever-changing crimson, amber, and purple hues that seem alive, dancing on every blade of grass. It casts long, whimsical, almost dancing shadows from ancient mighty oaks whose gnarled crowns rustle softly in the gentle breeze, carrying stories of past centuries. This breeze, bearing the faint, barely perceptible scent of freshly cut grass, damp earth, and distant, fading bonfires, whispers something ancient and mysterious in the lush foliage. But here, inside the massive, intricately carved, dark, noble oak walls of the stable, an almost absolute, reverent, almost tangible, all-encompassing silence reigns, as if in the heart of creation itself. This silence is so dense and pervasive that it seems capable of lulling away any worries. It is only occasionally, very delicately, broken by the soft, deep sigh of a sleeping or dozing horse, the quiet, rhythmic shifting of a hoof on the loose, soft straw bedding, creating an almost musical, deeply calming background, or the faint creaking of old, well-fitted wood that seems to breathe with its inhabitants, filling the air with the comforting scent of time. At this tranquil, almost magical hour, our rider, whose name we will not utter today to preserve the intimacy and universality of this sacred, eternal moment, enters. His steps on the packed stable earth are almost soundless, as if he himself is part of this silence. He does not rush. Not a single gesture, not the slightest movement of his body betrays haste, nervousness, or fuss. On the contrary, every movement is deliberate, every step measured, every glance filled with deep meaning and sincere, genuine intent. He is not here simply to mechanically perform his daily duties, a list which, of course, is extensive and demanding. He is here to deepen that invisible but incredibly strong and vital bond, which, in his own words, is his reliable pillar, his unwavering foundation in this unpredictable, sometimes harsh, yet amazing and beautiful world. For him, it is not just ordinary work or a tedious obligation. It is a true service, a deep respect for a creature that shares its strength, its endurance, and its boundless, unconditional loyalty with him. He slowly, yet confidently and purposefully, as if following an unseen call, approaches his horse's stall, his loyal comrade. The mighty stallion, whose coat, dark as the most moonless night, gleams with warm, vibrant bronze sparks and golden highlights in the dim, flickering light of the single old, yet very reliable lantern mounted on a wooden beam, slowly and with majestic dignity raises its large, noble head, greeting its rider. It looks intently and perceptively at the rider, with its large, deep, intelligent eyes, reflecting centuries of wisdom, intuitive understanding, and deep trust accumulated over years of shared life. No loud, anxious neigh, no demonstrative, excessive joy that could disturb the prevailing reverent silence. Just a quiet, deep, absolutely confident snort, full of unmistakable recognition and boundless trust, sounding like a gentle song. This is a sound that seems to say more than 1,000 most eloquent words, filling the air with something inexpressibly warm and comforting, creating an invisible bridge between them. The rider extends his hand and gently, yet firmly, runs it along the animal's warm, velvety, soft neck, feeling every taut yet pliable muscle, every silky, fine hair beneath his palm, sensing the beat of life, This is not just a tactile touch. It is like a silent, telepathic dialogue they have been conducting for many, many years, taking turns in this eternal dance of understanding, anticipating the next step. The horse presses against him, its large, heavy, yet so kind head seeking the familiar caress that serves as an anchor in this calm, peaceful world, full of trust and security. Its breathing is even, deep, and warm, barely touching his hand, creating a feeling of incredible peace, mutual tranquility, and profound comfort. There are absolutely no barriers between them, only complete acceptance and unconditional love. And so, when this silent yet meaningful exchange of greetings is complete, the first, most important, and perhaps most laborious, yet at the same time most meditative stage of this evening ritual begins: thorough, meticulous grooming. The rider takes a brush, not just one, but a whole set of several, each designed for its unique purpose and possessing its own bristle texture. These are not just soulless tools of wood, metal, and coarse bristles. No, in his hands, each becomes a natural, almost organic extension of his own palm, almost a living intermediary between man and animal, a bridge connecting them into a unified whole. First, the coarse brush is used, made of strong, natural fibers, which gently, yet persistently, glides across the sleek, warm coat, removing the tiniest particles of dust, dried mud, and sweat that inevitably accumulate during a long day of exhausting training, swift gallops, and long journeys across rocky trails and green plains where the wind mixes sand with dew. The soft, rhythmic sound of brushing begins to evenly and steadily fill the entire stable, like an ancient song. This sound itself has an incredible, almost therapeutic, and deeply soothing effect. You feel any tension accumulated during the day, gradually dissipating into the dense air, not only from the horse, which closes its eyes in pleasure, enjoying every stroke of the brush, but also from the rider himself, whose shoulders relax and facial features soften, his gaze becoming gentler, more peaceful, and clearer. Every brushstroke is even, purposeful, focused on the smallest details of the skin and every hair. The rider carefully, almost meditatively, observes his horse's slightest reactions. Somewhere, he presses a little harder to reach deep layers of hair and thoroughly brush out dead hair and dander. Somewhere, he loosens his grip slightly, sensing the animal's skin sensitivity or discovering a small scratch that requires attention. This is a true dance, synchronized and ancient, where every movement of one partner elicits a corresponding, sensitive response from the other, creating perfect harmony. Then he takes a softer brush, perhaps made of horsehair, to give the coat a final, silky sheen, polishing it to the consistency of satin until it shimmers under the lantern light. He patiently untangles the long, thick, sometimes matted mane, carefully removes stuck straw, twigs, and small debris from the silky tail, and then proceeds to polish the hooves, a crucial part of care that unfortunately is often underestimated or performed carelessly. But here, in Edoras, special attention is paid to it. Each of the 4 mighty hooves is carefully inspected, cleaned of dirt, manure, and small pebbles that might have lodged in the crevices, and polished to a noble shine with special oil. This is not just aesthetics, although gleaming hooves look magnificent and attest to care. It is primarily about caring for the foundation, for the health and strength of what supports all the power, grace, and health of this magnificent animal, its ability to serve. Not a single, even the smallest detail, escapes his attentive, almost X-ray gaze. for the safety and comfort of his comrade depend on it. After the completion of this thorough and meticulous grooming, when the horse's coat shines with cleanliness, emits a faint yet very pleasant and natural fresh scent, and looks absolutely healthy and well-groomed, it is time for the most anticipated, most beloved moment for any horse. Time for the evening meal, well deserved after a long day. The rider carries a large, sturdy wooden bucket made of strong, old oak whose rings betray its age, filled to the brim with fresh, incredibly aromatic oats, whose grains shimmer like pure gold in the lantern light. Like a scattering of precious gems, the light, rustling crunch of grain as he generously, confidently pours it into the spacious, well-polished wooden trough sounds like a quiet, peaceful song of abundance, anticipation, and contentment. The soft, slightly sweet aroma of oats immediately fills the stable air, acting on the horse no less effectively than any exquisite delicacy, eliciting clear anticipation and gratitude from it. The horse lowers its large, wise head, and you begin to hear that incomparable, soft, contented crunch as it slowly, deliberately, and with delight chews each oat kernel as if savoring it. This is not just the sound of consuming food. It is the sound of deep, almost childlike satisfaction, sincere gratitude for the care and warmth emanating from the rider. The rider remains nearby, watching his horse, his eyes full of tenderness and pride. He does not rush it, allowing it to enjoy every moment of this important evening meal, as if it were the last treat of the day. This moment is one of the most intimate, when the animal is maximally relaxed, vulnerable, and absolutely open to human presence, completely trusting him. While the horse eats, focused on its food, the rider uses this time for another, no less important, and sometimes critically significant part of the ritual. He carefully, yet very thoroughly, checks the animal's legs, feeling its tendons, joints, muscles, looking for any signs of fatigue, barely noticeable swelling, small abrasions, or possible hidden injuries that might have occurred during the long, eventful day. His hands move confidently, precisely, and professionally, knowing every curve of the bone, every joint protrusion, every vein and tendon, every, even the smallest, anatomical feature of his comrade. This is a skill honed over years of tireless practice, subtle observations, and a deep, intuitive understanding of the animal's anatomy and physiology. He carefully checks the pulse, skin temperature, looking for the slightest, sometimes barely perceptible deviations from the norm that could signal impending health problems. This unparalleled attentiveness, this thoroughness, is the key to the health, well-being, and longevity of his invaluable companion. For a good horse is not only strength, but also loyalty. Then follows the preparation for well-deserved, deep nightly rest, for complete relaxation. The heavy tack, made of soft yet strong leather and gleaming, forged metal, and the massive saddle, symbols of daily adventures, strenuous work, and shared journeys, are removed from the horse and carefully, with special gentleness, like precious artifacts bearing the imprint of great deeds, hung on their specially designated well-polished wooden hooks along the sturdy oak wall. You hear a light, almost imperceptible, barely audible sound as the metal buckles and rings touch each other. This is not just the sound of metal striking metal. It is the sound of the workday ending, of releasing the weight that was on the horse's and rider's shoulders, of freedom from burden. The rider returns to the horse, takes the softest brush with long, gentle bristles, intended for the final stage of care, and carefully brushes the areas where the saddle and tack rested, gently massaging the muscles that might have become tired or slightly compressed during the day, improving circulation. He carefully checks the blanket, a soft, warm woolen cover that will protect the horse at night from coolness and drafts, ensuring it lies perfectly flat, does not press, does not bunch up, and does not chafe, providing maximum comfort for a deep, restorative sleep. He even fluffs up the straw in the stall, making it softer and more voluminous so the horse can lie down with maximum comfort, sinking into warmth and coziness. He adds fresh, dry straw to provide an ideal, clean bedding for his loyal friend. And now, when all these numerous yet important and necessary tasks are done, when every item is in its place and the horse looks absolutely well-groomed, contented, and ready for rest, only one thing remains: a quiet, deeply meaningful farewell. The rider once again places his hand on the horse's warm, still velvety neck, as if transferring to it the last rays of his care, warmth, and unspoken gratitude. The horse's eyes are half closed. It is immersed in a state of deep relaxation and peace, completely trusting him with every cell, every muscle of its mighty body. At this very moment, when the whole world seems to stand still and external sounds cease to exist, dissolving into the dense, all-encompassing silence, only this invisible, yet absolutely real and tangible bond remains. Unwavering, profound, built on mutual respect, complete trust, and endless, boundless devotion, which seems to pulse between them. This is not just a domestic pet and its owner performing daily duties. These are comrades, blood brothers, who have been through countless trials, shared many joys and sorrows, overcome many obstacles, and are ready to face even more, shoulder to shoulder, or rather, side by side, until the very end. The horse quietly, almost inaudibly, nuzzles its soft, velvety nose into the rider's open palm, making a final, gentle gesture of affection, a kind of almost human farewell kiss, full of tenderness and understanding. This is a silent promise to meet again with the first, still hesitant rays of dawn, to begin a new day together. The rider slowly, almost gracefully withdraws, taking a few steps back to give his horse personal space, allowing it to settle down for the night, find the most comfortable sleeping position, and fully immerse itself in peace. The last look he casts at his faithful companion is full of unspoken love, deep respect, and sincere gratitude for all they have experienced together. The stable door quietly, almost soundlessly closes behind him, as if guarding the secret of this sacred place, leaving the mighty horse in the soft, calming light of the old lantern and the deep, blessed silence, broken only by its own even, peaceful breathing and the quiet rustle of fresh hay as it settles comfortably, preparing for sleep. This is not just ordinary, daily animal care. It is something much more, extending far beyond simple functionality. It is a true meditation, a profound, ancient affirmation of the almost sacred, primal bond between human and wild nature, which lives in every animal, manifesting in its grace and strength. And it is in this silence, in these repetitive, almost ritualistic movements, which at first glance seem so simple and uncomplicated, yet are so filled with deep meaning and centuries of experience, that an incredible, inexplicable tranquility lies, passed on to everyone who witnesses this ritual, both the viewer and the rider himself, enveloping them in an invisible blanket of peace. Thus ends another day in the legendary stables of Edoras. But the bond established and strengthened in this quiet evening hour remains forever. serving as an unwavering beacon and reliable support in a world full of constant change and challenges. If you found peace in this ancient ritual, please give this video a like, subscribe for more stories, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts on this incredible bond.